Since I was a little girl, I have hosted party after party. I've always invited people over and loved making friendships. I get so much fulfillment out of it. At least once a month, we gather around some sort of table, whether it's going out for dinner with friends, having people over, or going to someone's house. It's part of our schedule. It's a big priority for us.
Yeah, we both love hosting parties. When we first got married, we would throw New Year's parties, birthday parties, and just share many late nights with friends. We created a lot of great memories. But as we've gotten older, we've shifted our focus of why we host. Before, there was no real purpose other than just to hang out with friends. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with hanging out with the same crowd. We love our friends, but over time we felt we were missing the bigger picture of what true community meant. Over the past few years, we have been very intentional about how and why we host. We want to create a space for people to feel welcomed, loved, and cherished. We want others to leave our home feeling encouraged, revived, and feeling like they want to go out and do the same.
Yeah, our passion for gathering grew about a year ago when through social media I met Kristen Schell from Texas. Kristen was really intentional about meeting with her neighbors, and so she purchased a picnic table. She painted it turquoise and put it on her front yard. This gave an invitation for others to sit and have fellowship with her. I loved this idea of reaching out to people. I find that today people are so busy, they don't make time for their neighbors, or people they work with, or people at church. By placing that table on her front yard, Kristen created new friendships and made the time to meet with them. As she calls it, we're front yard people. Instead of hiding in our backyards or in our homes, let's open the door and invite them in.
We've been practicing being intentional about meeting around the table for the last few years. Last summer, we made invitations for all of our neighbors to come over and enjoy a pool party at our house. Almost every one of them came out. We had a few barbecues set up and people were able to meet, enjoy food, and just share stories together. We've also had many euchre tournaments and game nights with random groups of people each year. And it's just a great way to spur on new friendships, to have some fun, and create a space where people can relax and unwind. And one thing that I've really been focusing on is, instead of saying the old, hey, we should totally get together sometime, instead, in that same conversation, just get the calendar out and ask, so what day works for us to get together?
We've had some really great experiences around the table, from openness to honesty to learning and sharing. A few years ago, we got together with friends, and a conversation began with my girlfriend surrounding the topic of religion and church. She shared some scars she had from her past with regards to how the church treated her and how people who were supposed to be Christians had treated her. It was a really great opportunity to share and plant into her life some truths about church and God, and how we've all had those moments where people tear us down. Relating to her was the best thing I could do. Her story was shared, my story was shared, and God's story of forgiveness and love was shared. It was a conversation that drew us closer to each other and closer to God.
I think part of coming to the table is just being able to share stories, catch up with people you haven't seen in a while, and give advice where it's needed. And also being able to just be quiet and listen when that's needed too. When it comes to sharing faith, especially with our non-Christian friends, I really like what Dave said in that we don't need to be able to know every verse and every story in the Bible inside and out. We just need to know our story and be able to share that story with others and how we've connected with Jesus. For me, the best part about this is that it's not very hard to do, and there's no need to over-spiritualize anything. When the time comes, it will be a great experience to share your faith, but I don't think you need to feel pressure for that right away. Just let the relationships build, and I think the opportunities will present themselves. For us, it's all about just having people over, sharing stories, and sharing life together. Whether it's having dinner or watching your favorite hockey team lose game after game together, or come have a swim, I think it's just about making a conscious decision to want to live in a community and not just a neighborhood.
I agree with Aaron. We need to reach out and be a light into the lives of others. Being intentional, purposeful, and spontaneous. It's allowing people to come into our lives whether we expected them to stop by or not. If we give people the idea that we're only open for business when we feel ready, clean enough, prepared enough, when we have a big enough home, or we have more money, or when we know how to cook, we'll never do it. There's no need to overdo or over-prepare. It can be a simple meal or a coffee. As long as we are inviting others into our homes, we are inviting them into our lives. Opening the door of our home is like opening the door to our hearts. We should create a place of rest and a place where people can share their stories and feel listened to. Community doesn't happen unless we make it happen. A quote I found said this: "We love because he loves. We welcome because he welcomed. We invite because he invited."